podcast where each month we continue the search for the best bad movies on the planet Earth. I am your host, Aaron, and I am joined, as always, by Matt.
Hello.
Tripped a bit there, but that's okay. It's early.
Oh, I should have timed it.
Well, you know.
Oh, I'll catch you next time.
How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. It's hot. It's hot here in Ontario.
Oh, that's fun. It was hot here yesterday. I set up my kiddie pool in the backyard and sat in that and drank beer. And
That's amazing.
Ordered skip the dishes. I had a man come right into my backyard with a bag of tacos. I was like, yeah, you can just put those here. That's cool.
That's amazing. What the hell?
Yeah, and then it around dinner time, maybe 5 or 6, all of a sudden clouds just appeared out of nowhere, and it started raining again.
This has been riveting for our listeners.
This is how we start our 40th episode.
Oh yeah, happy 40th episode.
Mm.
We did it. Number 40. That's a milestone for some reason.
It is. Well, because to get to 50, it's another 10 months.
I mean, yeah, that's true. One a month really does add up. We've been doing this for over 3 years to get here.
Yeah. It'd be next April. We'd be doing 50.
Oh.
So, yeah. And in June, it'll be 52, which would be the approximation of doing it one a week for a year, which is what most podcasts do. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's too
Anyways,
much.
yeah. How what is your life consisted of lately? Have you been viewing? Have you been reading? Have you been smoking? What have you been doing?
Drinking. There we
Oh,
go.
drinking.
Yeah. I am partial to the dark and stormy. Yeah.
Ooh, what a drink.
Yeah, it's funny actually.
Love
I guess it's worth mentioning we're going to be doing a 40th episode party extravaganza Patreon exclusive to kind of recap where we've come, how far
only
we've
costs
gone.
$1.
Only costs $1, yeah.
Get on there.
Yeah, and that's going to be really fun. So I've been re-listening to the entire podcast.
How's
To
that?
do that. It's I can't say that I've been listening with total attention.
Fair.
You know, I'll put it on and then I'll be cleaning or washing dishes or
right.
when I walk Zelda. So every once in a while I'll kind of be like, "Oh, I zoned out," and then I'll come back to it. But for the most part, not bad.
That's good.
Yeah.
For me, the only time I listen to the podcast is when I'm editing, and then
And then you're
once
done.
it's done, I export it, I send it out, and I never listen to it again.
Yeah, fair.
Really, sometimes I'm making little videos for YouTube, little highlight videos. So I go back and I'll listen to sections of the podcast. But,
Right, of course.
But I do every now and then, when I go and check our download stats, and every couple of months, and it's been like this for a while, there will just be like you got 38 downloads today. It's like, what? Why? And it's just like one download on every episode.
Oh,
And
just
someone just
someone
downloaded
new.
the entire catalog. Yeah, someone new. So that's great.
Love it. But yeah, we there's one episode where for some reason we talk about the dark and stormy and how I'm like, "Oh, that seems like a drink maybe that I would like, but I've never tried it because I don't drink." But now that there's a pandemic going on, I do drink.
Nice. That's
And
what it took.
Drink of choice. Yep, that's what it took is a world freaking pandemic, and now I'm on the booze.
I've been bugging you for years. I'm like, can you just like alcohol so that we can have a drink? Can you just figure that out?
Yep. And now that there's a pandemic and we live across the country from each other, now I drink.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, virtual happy hours are like a huge thing now that people are doing with their friends. They're just like,
Oh,
hey,
really?
let's all get on Zoom or Skype or something. We'll all crack a beer or whatever, have a glass of wine, and we'll just gab. We'll just gab for a couple hours.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Not the Zoom part, though. Zoom is super annoying.
Yeah, we use it for work all the time, and I'm like, I guess like image quality, technically it is better, but I don't
Yeah,
like
well, I
it.
mean, like when COVID first kind of started slapping everyone into their homes, Zoom is what I was using to talk to my family and stuff, and it was fine. And
Mm-hmm.
then, but I guess like they normally have a video limit, like a time limit, and then they lifted that limit for the pandemic, but then they put it back on.
For a little bit, they lifted it. Yeah, well, because then they realized that like everyone was using it for work and stuff too, and they're like, yeah, nah, yeah, you can pay. You can pay for the pro.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to blame them, but also screw you, Zoom, because I was trying to like play Dungeons and Dragons with my family
Yeah.
because that's what we do now, as I'm sure
I mean,
many
you
other
can.
people do.
Did you just like start a new meeting every 40 minutes and then?
We did that for one of our sessions. Yeah, we started like we had to do it like 5 times to have like a 3.5 hour session, and
Yeah.
that was just super dumb. So that was the last
Yeah.
time we used it.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. I've had very little experience with it because I think our company has a pro membership, and so we use Zoom
Yeah,
for
that
that.
makes sense if you're using it
Yeah.
for work. This is
Yeah.
riveting for our listeners.
I know, right?
At least they
Uh,
can probably relate.
yeah, I imagine
Yeah.
so. We yeah. Well, what have I been watching? Oh, I watched all of Gravity Falls.
Yeah. Oh, I love Gravity Falls.
Yeah,
Isn't it so good?
it's great.
Yep. Fucking
It's like
amazing.
it's like Rick and Morty but for kids,
I mean, fair, yeah.
kind of, but still enjoyable as an adult.
Very. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very enjoyable.
No, I really 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 liked it. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I think my favorite episode might be the one with the merman in the swimming pool.
Armando.
Mermando, yes,
Oh,
that's right.
amazing, yeah.
That one was, and Seuss is trying to free the inflatable ducks, and Dipper's the
Oh,
night watchman.
oh, and the crazy pool
It's
check
so good.
guy.
Yes, yes, pool check. That's right.
Oh, so freaking insane.
It's like eats the whistle. Yeah, man. No, that episode is amazing. So I watched that, and then I know I've been watching other stuff. Like, I started watching Space Force. Eh,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's like I feel like it has potential to be good, but I don't know if they'll get another season.
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw that it existed and saw who was in it, and I was like, oh, interesting. But then I watched the trailer, and the trailer was just didn't grab me. I was like, oh, nah.
The second episode is quite funny. It
Good for
involves
the
a
second
chimp
episode.
Yeah, it involves a chimp astronaut, and I'm like, okay, this is like where this show could go. And it's weird because it doesn't really do that after that.
Hmm. Well,
But I was stoked because it was like, excuse me. It was the guy that created The Office and Steve Carell.
yeah.
They were, co-creating the show together, and he's like kind of playing a Michael Scott character, but he's not Michael Scott enough for it to
Hmm.
work, I don't know. All in all, I would say try it if you want to, I guess. Would be my
What
review of Space Force.
a glowing review.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about that. What about you? Anything else you've been watching?
Um, my wife and I started watching through Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, I don't like that show. Cool. How are you
Yeah,
finding it?
it's so freaking weird.
Yeah.
It's such a weird show, and it's like every episode there's so much hit and so much miss for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some stuff that's just so damn funny that I laugh out loud, and it's amazing. And then some of it, I just straight up cringe. Like, no, why? No, why would you do that?
Yeah. I remember I gave that show because I had a rule where I was like, I'll give any show 3 episodes. Doesn't, interest me after 3 episodes. I'll stop.
Yep.
And that one I was just like waiting for the third episode to finally be over so I could stop. I was just like, there's nothing about this that appeals to me.
Well, good for you for giving it all 3 episodes.
I gave it
still.
3 episodes, yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
I think that's pretty much everything. I've been watching a bunch of stuff, but like nothing noteworthy. I finished.
Oh, you know what? Sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Well,
no, no, no.
You what?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I finished season 3 of Battlestar Galactica, and I've kind of been taking a little break before starting season 4, but it's quite good. I still think season 2 is the best season of that show, but
I never got as far as season 3, but I mean, yeah, it's a fantastic show.
very good. I'm quite looking forward to finally finishing it.
Yeah, and the final season, I think we talked about it when it first came out, and how I was like, well, I was really interested in where this could go. But the animated She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, the final season came out not too long ago, and I have grown to just love that show. I think it is absolutely fantastic.
I still haven't watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it'll be up your alley because it is technically a kids show, but it just has like the emotional depth that I want out of a cartoon, and yeah, it's really powerful and beautiful. I love it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
I watched Finding Dory last night for the first time.
Oh, why?
That was anything. Yeah, I was just like browsing through my many streaming apps, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go through Disney. And then I came across Finding Dory, and I was like, oh, I never saw that. I'm gonna watch it, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
I remember watching that. It was quite a while ago now, but yeah, it's like it's nice. It's
I think
not.
I like it at least as much as Finding Nemo.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth a watch.
I don't know why that was the one thing that popped into my head out of all the things I watched. I got to come up with something.
These days, podcasting every month and trying to be like, what did you watch lately? So it's tough.
It's a long, lengthy list. I watched Interview with the Vampire again.
Oh,
That movie's really great.
it's been too long for me. I barely remember it.
It's very, very gay, and it's wonderful.
Love it.
Like, I think when I watched that movie for the first time, I was like maybe, I don't know, 11 or 12, and I just like didn't really pick up on all of the homosexual subtext that was there. I was like, oh, they're vampires, and they're hanging out because they're vampires. And one of them likes killing people a lot more, and the other guy should probably just start killing people because he's a vampire and that's what they do.
Oh, yeah.
And then you watch it as an adult, and you're like, oh my God, they're lovers. This is, it's great. I like it. I like it a lot.
Man, I got to rewatch that.
It takes what any sort of horror or science fiction, I think, is at its best when it, addresses something that's an issue in our society, but because it's being viewed through the lens of something else, they're not two men in love, they're vampires.
Right.
So, they didn't adopt a child. One of them bit a child and turned her into a vampire.
Of course.
And so it's like they're not two dads. That's not happening. But then you watch it and as an adult, you're like, oh yeah, they're two dads.
Yep.
Yeah. So
man, that's awesome.
That's what I think is probably best about that, and what I like in like a horror movie or a sci-fi movie is when it is saying something other than vampires are cool. It's like vampires are cool, but what's even cooler? Being gay.
Yeah, love it. There's a lot of that
Which is maybe
in
not the
She-Ra
message.
as well.
Which is maybe not the exact message that they were trying to send, but yeah, it looked pretty fun to me. There's a lot of that in She-Ra too. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
She-Ra is very very open and comfortable and not like stressing the point of the amount of LGBTQ plus characters.
Nice.
There's
Good.
even just straight up a non-binary character, and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that in a cartoon.
No, that would be
There's
too much for the Disney Channel.
probably
Yeah.
not too much for Netflix though.
Nice. Well, Matt, should we get stuck in? Should we get stuck into this thing we've forced ourselves to do
Let's
every
get
month?
stuck. Yeah. Our special 40th episode.
All right.
Did something special.
Something is great about this, and I didn't plan this when I first decided that we should do a retrospective of the distant future, the year 2000, and watch all movies from the year 2000 on this year. It's like a year-long commitment. Like most podcasts would do that for a month, but again, our format doesn't allow for that, so we're committed for a year. But every now and then, Hollywood gives us a pair of films where two people had basically the same idea. You know, there's I think the most common example would be like Armageddon and Deep Impact.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Finding Nemo and Shark Tale
Oh, right.
kind of came out in the same year. The Prestige and the Illusionist, Ants in a Bug Life,
Yeah, of course.
Dante's Peak and Volcano. These are all kinds of... Oh, Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down are maybe like the most recent examples of that, where it's like, oh, there's two movies about terrorists attacking the White House and trying to kill the president. Like, that's weird. Yeah, I think... Oh, there was like two Snow White movies that came out in 1 year, I think.
Oh, yeah, that totally was.
Two, yeah. So yeah, those kind of things, right? Where it's like basically, essentially the same movie. The Cave and The Descent, those came out in the same. Anyways, but we just
Lots of examples.
Lots of examples. So this just happened to also happen in the year 2000, which I thought was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So we got two movies about going to Mars. We got Red Planet and Mission to Mars.
Yup.
The Mars Terraforming Project will be the greatest achievement in the history of human exploration. We have to make Mars the future, or mankind is history.
Ready? Big day. No room for mistakes either.
Gentlemen, we're eating dinner on Mars.
We're trying not to go too nuts up here, but we think there's a good chance that this could be water. Of course, if that's correct, then we may have found the key to permanent human colonization.
Yes! Okay, we're ready to light this candle.
Let's go to Mars.
Matt, going to Mars sounds fun, right?
Yeah. Sure.
It's, I mean, you know, it seems like such a good idea that Hollywood had to make two movies about it in the span of 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, there was varying levels of success, wasn't there?
Indeed. Indeed, there was.
So, Mission to Mars came out in March of 2000, March 10th.
Mission to Mars in
And-
March.
And Red Planet came out in November. So, I guess that's technically enough time to like have the idea and straight up. You could say that Red Planet is a ripoff of Mission to Mars if you wanted to.
I do want to.
You do want to? Okay, great.
Yeah. What a ripoff.
Yeah. So now let's, I guess, sort of talk about the quote unquote missions to Mars, each sort of plot. Mission to Mars, funnily enough, takes place in the year 2020. That's
Yup.
a nice coincidence. And maybe a little optimistic on the filmmaker's part.
I think so. Yes.
Because Red Planet is set in 2050, and that's like, all right, maybe we're, maybe we're thinking about going to Mars then, possibly. But, so, they both involve a team of astronauts. They have to go to Mars. Red Planet, they're going to Mars because they sent a bunch of algae up there.
Yeah, in Red Planet, their mission is essentially, and it said in the opening credits that by the year 2025, they knew that the Earth was just fucked.
Ah, good.
Like, nope, no saving this planet. We need to move. And so their mission is like, make Mars livable so that we can evacuate the Earth.
Right.
Yeah, 2025 is not that far away.
No, it's not.
Ooh.
And I feel like maybe that's the year that America realizes that the Earth is fucked. I feel like the rest of us have known this for a while.
Yeah, for quite a long time, actually.
But then you still see American... I mean, okay, that's maybe unfair, because there are scientists in America who are like, no, we need to listen to this. But then the American politicians are like, well, but is there any actual hard evidence to say the Earth's getting hot? It snowed yesterday in Vermont, so who you tell me which planet's getting hotter or colder? Who is to say? Anyways,
Wow. I love your American politician voice. It was great.
this is my American politician voice. Do y'all want some sweet tea? I motion we adjourn the Senate and have a sweet tea break on the porch.
Ooh.
Sorry, before I got sucked down that rabbit hole, what were we Oh, right. So, yeah, so they need to go to Mars to make it habitable. And so they sent a bunch of algae up there that's supposed to
Make
just
oxygen.
magically make oxygen
Yeah.
in an environment with zero oxygen and nothing to consume. Anyways,
Wasn't
so that
very
was
well
weird.
explained.
It was
Yeah.
not very well explained. And Mission to Mars is and Red Planet, they're the first ones, right? They're
Yeah, like they've sent the
think,
algae,
yeah.
they've sent a little robot thing, and they've sent the station.
No, the robot thing came with them.
There's like a little satellite robot thingy that's just like on little wheels. Not like the robot. That's part
Oh,
of the
not
plot.
Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that's
But
right. Yeah, there's that
I
little
think they're the first ones there, but also there was
think
already
so,
a
'cause-
base there.
They're called Mars 1. Yeah, but you can send, like, NASA's working on like self-building habitats and stuff where you can just like send that in advance. It lands on Mars and just kind of like
Like a
pops
fold-out
up.
tent.
Yeah, basically, it's like a giant inflatable bouncy habitat that just will pop up on Mars. Like that's something that they're working on. So I'm like, all right, well, that's
All right, cool.
I'll accept that there's just a country club there that they sent in advance. So they're the first ones to Mars. In Mission to Mars, they've already been to Mars a few times. It seems like, right?
It
Like
was
they're on there.
it was a little unclear to me, but like, whereas Red Planet does have like their journey to get to Mars, Mission to Mars is like they're going to Mars and there's a big party, and then it just skips to some of the people are already on Mars and some of our characters
Right.
aren't yet.
Oh, right. Maybe they were. Is Don Cheadle's mission the first one?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because based on what happens later in the movie, it'd be weird if they had been there a bunch of times and no one noticed that. Yeah, okay, so Don Cheadle's mission is the first mission to Mars, but something goes wrong and they lose contact with the um with the Mars mission. And so the rest of the team that was at the party is on the space station, and they're looking at satellite footage, and they're like, "Hey, there was 4 astronauts there, but there's only 3 graves. So that means he's got to be still alive, right?" And one of them goes, "Yeah, or he wasn't around to bury himself."
Yeah, that was good.
They're like, "Oh, right. Well, anyways, let's go get him."
Yeah.
And then they go get him.
Yep.
Spoilers. They go
Yeah.
get him.
So Red
yeah.
Planet is like dangerous mission to unknown territory to save all of humanity. Mission to Mars is actually like a rescue mission in a strange environment.
Yeah. It's true.
Although it is more than that. But yeah.
Mission to Mars also does, I think, spend more time on the mission to Mars. Like more time on the journey to get there, kind of. Red Planet has a bunch of scenes with them before they land, but for the most part, I think they pretty much land on Mars like 20 minutes, maybe half hour into the movie.
Yeah, something like that.
And so yeah, let's just real quick the overall plot points is like Red Planet, they land on Mars using literally a bunch of gigantic airbags to like bounce down a cliff.
Yeah, bouncy balls, the landing balls.
Yeah, because their landing gear wasn't working, so like, deploy emergency cushions or whatever.
I don't remember. Yeah.
It's kind of funny actually because they like bounce, and you're like, oh, and they're like, oh, I think that's it, and then you just like zooms out and you see them on a cliff and they're like, and they just like slowly fall off. They're like, oh my god, it's like Homer, like hitting his head on every rock on the way down the cliff, and then every rock on the way back up. It's dumb, and so they land. One of them's injured. One of them gets pushed off a cliff by a guy who claims to the rest of the group that that guy jumped. And then
to like kill himself because they had to emergency land, and they only had a certain amount of oxygen.
Yeah.
And then they got to the base, and the base was trashed. So they were like, "Well, we're all gonna suffer here."
Yeah, so they're pretty much gonna die. And then they are hunted by their robot assistant, which was a military robot that got damaged in the crash and got set to like hunt mode, and so it's trying to hunt them down.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a slasher movie on Mars a little bit, but then also they discover that the algae worked and that there is breathable air, and then there's bugs that crawl into your suit, which they definitely ripped off of The Mummy.
Yeah,
if you remember
very,
The Mummy,
very scarab feel to them.
Yeah, it came out the year before, had the scarabs that crawled under people's skin, and they were like, "Oh, this will be great. We'll get these bugs that crawl into their suits and stuff like that, but then go off like fireworks when they're lit on fire."
Yeah, it's something to do with like the algae on its own didn't work because the algae like wasn't on the planet where it was planted, where it should have been. But then like elsewhere on the planet, when they go off the grid or whatever, they all of a sudden find like huge fields of this algae with all of these little bugs in them, and it's something to do with the relationship between the bugs and the algae, where the bugs like eat the CO2 or something, or they eat the algae and produce oxygen.
Yeah, I think that one. Let's say
that one. Yeah, so they're full of oxygen, which means
which
that they're
means they
highly
blow up.
flammable. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that is a kind of cool scene where they're like in the guy's suit and they're just like shooting out of him, like huge like bolts of fire just like shooting out of his suit. It looks pretty cool, but
Yeah, it's like popcorn coming out
Yeah.
of his body.
But I think the interesting and maybe worst thing about this movie is the decision to leave Carrie-Anne Moss on the ship the entire time. And she's just by herself on the ship, trying to like
Yep.
fix the ship to get it ready to go. Meanwhile, Val Kilmer. Yeah, by the way, Val Kilmer's the protagonist of this movie. Awful. Awful. So he's just down on the planet and they're trying to get to, there's a different ship for some reason.
It's an old Russian shuttle.
Oh
that I
yeah, it
think
was like
wasn't meant for man travel.
right, it was like a cargo ship.
Something like
So he has
that.
to like rip all the cargo out of it. So anyways, they're trying to get to that so that they can that he can launch back up into space and then she'll pick him up. So that's basically Red Planet.
Yep.
What they did was they made this weird plot that you kind of see in like flashbacks and kind of at the beginning, like very poorly hints at a romantic connection between Val Kilmer and Carrie-Anne Moss, but it does not come off at all.
No.
Like there's the classic scene where she steps out of the shower and he walks in and he's like, oh my, you're naked. And she's like, yeah, I don't care if you see me naked. You mind just handing me a towel if you're going to stand there? You know,
Yep.
doesn't bother to cover up because she's a strong, confident woman who's comfortable in her own body.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, sure, allow me to take way too long to just reach over here and pass you this towel.
She makes it not weird, and then he gets really creepy about it.
Yeah, and I think they redo that scene, you know, later too, where like they need to like squeeze past each other in a tight corridor or something, and it just happens for way too long. And then we're supposed to believe that they've fallen in love, or at least are attracted. She is at least attracted to him.
Mm.
This is what we're supposed to accept somehow, and it
No.
does not come off.
Nope.
It is so forced.
It's terrible.
And
she's also the only woman in this movie.
no, it's the robot. It's named Amy.
Oh my
gosh. Yeah, she is the only woman in the movie.
And like she starts off being like strong boss lady.
Yeah.
Which is
Well,
great.
she is the mission commander, is she not?
Yeah, she is. But then, like you said, they just leave her on the damn ship for the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
After like essentially being sexually harassed by Val Kilmer during the mission on the way there.
But it's fine because she likes it.
And then,
which is the message that the movie sends, by the way. That's not me endorsing it. That's
thank you for clarifying. Yeah,
just
freaking
just
awful.
to be clear.
Yeah, and then in the very end, like he manages to launch from the Russian shuttle and get into space, but he can't get far enough, and they need to leave because of orbit reasons or whatever. And then so she like shoots herself out of the ship attached to a big cable or something, and then like grabs him and reels back in. So she does save his life.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing she does in this movie, really. And then they make out, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, they do. They make out
Yep.
in 0G. Mission to Mars, on the other hand, much more pleasant film.
Has about 3 female characters, if I remember correctly.
Does it?
I mean, one main one, but there are other female characters.
Oh. Yeah, so there's the main one who's married to is his name Woody?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I guess you see what's his name's wife in flashbacks too, Jim.
And at the
I don't know.
beginning at the party, there's like Don Cheadle's wife as well.
Right, Terry. Terry is her name, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's That's Woody's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. Oh yeah, and then Maggie was Jim's wife who got sick and died, and that's why he's not going to Mars. Because
And then on the first team too, there was another like a Russian lady
Oh yeah, it was Russian on the. Oh yeah. She
on
she
Don Cheadle's
dies.
team. Yeah.
She dies in a sand tornado. Um.
That got nuts.
So now, what's interesting about this movie is that it was directed by Brian De Palma, which is weird. It's weird that it was directed by the guy who made Carrie and Body Double and
Yeah.
like, you know, however many erotic thrillers.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he did also make the first Mission Impossible, which is
Oh, yeah.
which is also weird.
Yeah.
Because it's the guy that directed like Carrie and Scarface is the other big one, Dress to Kill, like these like kind of like sleazy movies, and then he does these two big Hollywood kind of movies. This was the last movie that he made in the States, by the way. Apparently, this was the one that like killed him in terms of working with like big Hollywood studios.
Oh wow.
And he was like, no, not gonna deal with this anymore. I'm out, and went to Europe.
Too many movies with the word mission in it.
Just made movies. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, probably. Just made movies in Europe from now on, because you could kind of get away with being sleazier over there, and people are like, oh yeah, it's good.
I feel like that might be an oversimplification, but
I tried watching his follow up to this the other day. It's a movie called Femme Fatale. I found it at a thrift store and I bought it, and I got about 20 minutes in, and I was like, nah, this is too French, and I'm too drunk for this. I gotta. So I'm gonna go back to it, but
when you're not drunk.
yeah, I went and visited my former coworkers at the brewery I used to, and they sent me home with quite a bit of beer.
Ah.
They're like, we got a bunch of like, cans in the back that were like, not filled all the way or whatever. You can have a bunch of them. So I got quite a bit of beer for free.
Score.
Yeah, did not mix well with watching weird, artistic, erotic thriller movies by an American in Paris. But anyways, we digress. Mission to Mars.
Indeed.
I actually quite like this movie. I watched this movie a bunch when I was a kid.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. It was one that I would go to the video store, and I'd just get my parents to rent me Mission to Mars over and over again. I remember watching it. Your older sister would babysit me occasionally.
Oh yeah.
And she said it was the easiest job she ever had, because literally all I wanted to do was watch a movie and then go to bed.
The perfect child.
And I wouldn't, yeah, and I would just be like, all right, cool, movie's over. I guess I'll brush my teeth now and go to bed. And that would
Wonderful.
be it. And then she'd just get to hang out while I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed. Bye.
So good.
Yeah. Oh, what an angel I was. What happened?
What happened? Oh, you beat me to it.
So yeah, basically the first mission on Mars gets they lose contact with it because a giant sand tornado at the base of a mountain pretty much erupts around the base of this mountain, and then comes down and eats the rest of them. One of them gets
top of the tornado, bends down like a neck.
Bends downwards like a mouth, like a nice worm.
Yeah.
Mouth.
Creepy.
And yeah, and my favorite thing, the main image that stuck in my head from this watching this movie as a kid was the astronaut getting spun around so fast that they just tore apart into like 7 or 8 different pieces.
That was horrifying.
I love that.
It
That's
was
so good.
so intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So basically most of the movie is like their journey to go rescue Don Cheadle because they think he might still be alive, and if not, then they're gonna try and do a recovery mission and see what can be salvaged from the previous mission and kind of see what caused the thing to happen. And it's great because you kind of just get to like spend time with the characters and you like the characters, and one of them is a married couple, and the line that they give in the movie is like a reason for why there's a married couple there is NASA thinks that having a married couple would be an asset in terms of like surviving the 6-month journey to Mars or whatever,
Do they say that?
Yeah. It's like oh, having some, people with previous, with a previously existing relationship with one another will be beneficial because they'll be able to survive the long journey in space together without, going insane and trying to kill each other.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's fair.
Which to me tells you that clearly all the scientists and astronauts at NASA are virgins, am I right? What?
Oh, burn. Man, you just slammed all of NASA.
Boom. Got him.
Do they do anything anymore? Like, what are they even doing?
No, they don't really do anything. Elon Musk does everything now. They lease
The Musk Man.
They lease their launch pads and stuff to SpaceX, and SpaceX is now sending astronauts to the space station.
Huh.
Yeah. They just launched their rocket ship, their Dragon or whatever it's called. I think the Dragon, right? The rocket. Falcon.
Dragon rocket?
Falcon. Oh, this
Falcon
the
Dragon?
The Dragon capsule.
Dragon Falcon rocket.
The capsule is the Dragon. The rocket itself is the Falcon 9, and it's the one that like it's just a rocket. It's not like, the shuttle or anything like that. And the rocket goes up, ejects off the capsule, and then the rocket falls back down and lands upright.
Wow. So that they can reuse it?
So then they can reuse it. Because before it would just be like you shoot them off, capsule ejects, the rocket explodes or crashes down in the ocean or something.
Yeah.
Waste of a perfectly good rocket, and then
so much money wasted in that.
Mm-hmm. And then the capsule crashes down into the ocean with a parachute, and you have to rescue the astronauts within 5 minutes or they drown.
It's good system, yeah.
Yeah. So now it's better.
Well, that sounds good.
So why did we get onto? Oh, right, because no one at NASA has ever been married, and that's why they would assume that married people would be better for cohabitating. I mean, I've never been married either. I don't know why I'm making this joke. I think it was just a good joke.
Nailed it.
I nailed it. I'll cut this out. So that's why there's a husband and wife team, and there was gonna be another husband and wife team. It was gonna be Jim and his wife, but then she got sick and died, so she couldn't come for obvious reasons of being dead. So they got the guy from Scream 2 instead to ride.
Oh yeah, that's right.
To ride shotgun in that. It's what's her name? Sydney's boyfriend from Scream 2, who gets shot to death in the very last scene when he's strapped to a cross or something.
I don't remember that movie.
But Timothy Oliphant. Anyways, yeah. So most of the movie is kind of their journey, and there's like, the scene where they're in 0G, like dancing.
Yeah, that was a cute scene.
That was cute. And I think one of the things I really liked about this is like, one, you could tell it was directed by a guy who, one, has directed movies before, and B, will go on to direct more movies after this. Because he's a good director. And Anthony Hoffman, who directed Red Planet, has directed nothing else and is so insignificant he doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That is insignificant.
In this day and age, it really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
even I have an IMDb page, but
Oh, yeah, you totally do.
you do too, by the way, I think.
What?
Yeah. Because you were in Henchmen.
For Henchmen?
And I would put everyone in that, yeah.
Looking it up right now. Am I on IMDb? Oh, there's so many.
I think there's only a
I have
couple
such
of...
a common name. I hate it. Ooh, did I work on The Hunger Games? No.
I doubt it.
Was I an actor in A Family of Ghosts? Uh-oh. I was. Because A Family of Ghosts, 2017. Talking Trees, 2017. In 2015, Henchman, Dom.
Wait, what? But were you just credited?
I was credited for other things after being put in for Henchman.
Oh, that's good. Well,
Wow. Now I have
well,
3 credits.
Talking Trees is Joel's movie.
Oh, right. Well, what the hell is A Family of Ghosts?
I don't know.
And why was I in it as a woman? Like, I got a pretty big Adam's apple. It's hard for me to play a woman.
Yeah, you were definitely not in this.
So their mission to Mars.
No, where was the time at? Oh yeah, directing. One of the things I like most about, I think, this movie is that Brian De Palma knows how to direct a movie. So, not only does the story make sense and the characters have, are relatable and things like that, but also just like the visuals are really cool, and there's a lot of really cool camera moves where, they're in 0G and you'll see one of the characters kind of walking around. They kind of took it from like 2001, I think, the big like circular like ring on the ship, at the beginning of 2001, the guy's jogging.
Yeah.
And then you see him, he's like walking around the whole thing. But so they kind of took it from that, but you see like one character like go start climbing up a ladder, and then the camera will like tilt and turn, and all of a sudden he's still climbing up the ladder, but now he's actually moving downwards in the frame towards the center of this, kind of, and you realize it's basically a wheel with a bunch of spokes, and they all kind of converge into like this center piece that he like goes in to like get to the rest of the ship or whatever. And it's like little like cool images like that.
Yeah, it was a visually interesting movie for sure.
That it just kind of it elevated it so much above Red Planet. Like,
yeah. Which
an
Red Planet, I remember like too. It started and there was some CGI that was like, okay, that's not bad. Like we even said like, oh, that's all right. And then every single CGI scene after the first one just got lower and lower and lower in quality.
Yeah, like the first like shot of like their spaceship, like, and I was watching this thing about like why the first Jurassic Park, like why the T-Rex attack scene looks so good, even though that was, done in 1993. And it's like this visual effects artist was kind of breaking it down, and he was going like, well, like, look, it's set at night, so there's like one light. There's like one light coming from one direction that's lighting it. So like all you got to do is worry about, and it's raining, so like it's kind of obscuring it. And so like I think that kind of applies to like the Red Planet ship. Is like the first shot, it's like there's one light, it's the sun shining on like half of it, and then I don't know why the rest of it didn't kind of come off like that, but
Yeah.
especially once they get down onto Mars. Oh, fun fact about Mars, by the way, in this movie, it was shot in a place called Wadi Rum. Hold on, I pulled this up, which is a very, very popular filming location in Jordan. But it has been used for Mars 4 times. Once in Red Planet, and once in Mission to Mars.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So they shot
In
these
the
2
same
Mars
place.
movies at the same time. Both set on Mars, both released in the same year. But then also in 2013, it was used as location for Last Days on Mars, which is a good movie, by the way.
I haven't seen that one.
It's like a sci-fi. I think it's on Netflix. So it's kind of like a alien-esque kind of like movie. Like these guys, astronauts are on Mars, but then one of them gets infected with like a black goop, and then they have to, tries to kill the rest of the team. It's good. And then The Martian in 2015 also used it for
Mars
for
on
Mars.
Earth.
Yeah, totally. And it's being used for Arrakis in the new Dune movie.
Oh, nice.
And it was used as Jeddah in Rogue One and Pisana in The Rise of Skywalker. So 2 different Star Wars planets. Yeah, right?
Very popular location.
Yeah. And it was used in Prometheus as the alien planet. It's amazing.
Wow.
So that's just a fun fact. I thought it was very funny that they were probably shooting, these 2 Mars movies within like a mile of each other. Yeah. Although, well, because they were released far enough apart, maybe they weren't. I don't know. I don't really care.
Still though, same
fun
place,
fact.
same year.
Fun
That's
fact.
Super weird.
So there's very little Mars though on Mission to Mars. They're outside on Mars very little.
Yeah,
which
that's
I think,
true.
in a way, actually kind of works to the movie's advantage. Because basically the plot on Mission to Mars is they go to Mars. On the way down to Mars, something goes wrong, and they have to do a spacewalk in order to get to their landing shuttle.
Which
get inside.
let's just say too, like in both movies, getting to Mars, something terrible happens. Like that happens in both of them. With Red Planet, it's like, oh, we need to like eject the shuttle with you guys in it, but
which is why Carrie-Anne Moss
stay behind. Yeah,
stays on the ship. Yeah. Well, yeah, because they got hit by like ion waves or something that like fried all their electricals or whatever.
Something weird. Yeah.
In this one, there was a teeny tiny meteorite that blasted through the hull.
Yep.
And so one of them had to go out and plug the leak. And then there was something wrong with the ejecting the shuttle as well. Then they had to go into the shuttle from outside the spaceship, basically. Right?
Yeah.
Because the capsule was already falling, I think.
Yeah, so something like I think they lost power or something.
Yeah,
I'm having a hard time remembering. But yeah, they had to like straight up abandon ship, like go out.
It's kind of confusing because the entire time that's happening, the meteorite goes through the hole. They got to go plug the hull, but then at the same time, it blew through Jim's helmet, so he can't put his helmet on, and they're losing atmosphere, and so the whole time it's happening, you're like, oh my god, like what's happening to Jim? Like it's like this very like high tense scene. And it's a really, really good scene, but I think in that you kind of lose the other information about the space shuttle capsule, because like for some reason they can't get into the shuttle. Maybe they had to like seal it off, or no, because it's ejected. I don't know. Somehow the capsule is not a part of the main ship anymore.
Oh no, it was like they couldn't land the main the main ship. Like the main ship was gonna something. Wait, what was it? Oh, I think I remembered. Okay, so
Okay.
the meteorite pierces the hull. That happened.
Mhm.
Also, really interesting, cool scene. Like Woody is outside. The other three, his wife, Jim, our main character, and the funny guy, are all inside, and Jim is starting to suffocate. And outside, Woody can't find the leak, and so Jim gets a packet of Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
And he just opens it up in zero gravity, and it just slowly makes its way over to where it's leaked, and so it starts to seep out of the ship, and
Yeah.
that's how Woody finds the leak to plug it up.
Yeah.
What happened was it wasn't the only meteorite. That was the only meteorite that pierced the hull,
Right.
but meteorites had pierced their fuel.
right.
And so there was like
That's-
this long strand of rocket fuel
Mhm.
that like started coming out and then immediately freezing and then froze into this big piece and started going behind the shuttle. And they're like, all right, we need to like fire up our rocket boosters to get right in just the right angle in order to enter the atmosphere of the planet so we don't burn up and die. They fire off the rocket, and the fuel that was just floating behind the ship blows up.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And so
I
like
remember all that.
they are straight up screwed. Like that ship is now like partially destroyed, not functional, and will definitely enter the atmosphere at the wrong angle and burn up and explode.
Right. Yes.
And so what they do is they're like, we need to get the fuck off of this ship or we're straight up gonna die. And there is a satellite in orbit that's like they're gonna pass soon. And so like their plan is to just out in space in their suits make their way over to this shuttle and
right.
then like
yeah.
then like get inside it and try to make it land. It's super high stakes.
Yeah. I think overall, I mean, I like Mission to Mars as a movie better. But I think one of the things I like about it the most is I like all of the like outer space stuff. You know, like I like their suit design better.
Mm-hmm.
I think the spacewalk stuff looks really good. The visual effects in general are better than Red Planet, and obviously the characters and everything are better. I would happily recommend this movie to people. You know, if someone was like, "I want like a good movie about Mars," but go watch Mission to Mars.
Yeah.
So yeah, Woody unfortunately dies trying to get to the spaceship. He overshoots.
Yeah, like
he doesn't-
he launches off in order to like connect the like rope that they have on a little reel and gun.
Yeah.
And so like he launches off with that rope. He manages to connect it, but then can't grab on. He's going too fast because he ran out of fuel and can't stop himself.
Yeah, his personal
Little
like
rocket pack.
flying rocket pack thing that they have. Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
so he ends up taking off his helmet in order to stop his wife from using her fuel to come get him because she wouldn't have enough to make it back to the ship.
Yep.
Um
It's like a good emotional scene.
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
So they get down to the planet, they find Don Cheadle, and he's like, "Hey man, I've been going crazy growing potatoes. Also, there's aliens here." And they're like, "What?" And then turns out that the mountain they were trying to drill into is actually a giant alien face.
Yep.
Like I mean, okay, it's not an actual alien's face. It's like a metal carving of an alien face. And they're like, "Huh, let's and there's like a signal coming off of it, and so they're like, "Okay, let's rig up this thing to like transmit a signal back to it and see if we can open it up." And they end up going inside, and there's air in there. They can breathe, and basically an alien is it an actual alien or just a hologram?
It was a hologram, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
'Cause,
I
yeah,
think
they go into like this big hologram room that's like showing the galaxy.
Yeah, and it basically
Except-
shows that the Martians colonized Earth or created life on Earth, right? Like,
Yep.
is what they, yeah. And so then Jim decides that he's gonna go with the aliens to a new planet, and then the rest of them go home. They rescue Don Cheadle, Terry and Don Cheadle, and I forget Don Cheadle's character's name.
Yeah, me too.
And Scream 2 boyfriend making off the planet. Which is like, why does he get to live? His job in this movie basically is to just sit in a chair. Not always the same chair, but in pretty much every scene, he's sitting in some sort of chair in front of a computer.
Yeah, sometimes you need someone sitting in a chair in front of a computer.
Like, they all go out to the alien face to check it out, and he just sits there.
Yeah, well, he's the one having like
In the
ship prepped so that
Yeah,
they can leave at the right time or something.
So yeah, it just it sucks. That's like, sucks as an acting gig. That's all I'm saying.
Better than Scream 2.
Well, yeah, he got to kiss Neve Campbell, so that's nice.
Oh, well, yeah.
Sucks for her. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's a fine-looking guy. He looks fine.
He's a nice, funny, good-looking, funny-looking guy.
Yeah. So I think, like, overall, the clear winner is Mission to Mars. We've said that many times.
Yes.
There was some kind of weird Mars obsession going on in the early 2000s, though, man, because there was like these two movies, and then the next year, John Carpenter made Ghosts of Mars. Like, and there was another one, I think it's called Stranded, that also came out similar time.
Huh. People just all up on that Mars stuff, huh?
Yeah. Very weird. Yeah, Ghosts of Mars was in 2001.
Is that anything like A Family of Ghosts?
Well, you're in it. Yeah, Stranded. It's a Spanish movie, but it's English language. Never seen it. Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of. What else do we need to say? Mission to Mars wins on all categories, I think. Acting, better.
Yep.
Plot, story, characters, better. Directing, better.
Yep.
Special effects, better.
Yep. Although I will say the Martian in Mission to Mars, like the hologram, looks pretty damn bad.
It doesn't look good, but I'll forgive it on the basis of it being a hologram and not an actual
Okay.
and not an actual physical alien. I'll give it that kind of pass.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. I like the sci-fi design of Mission to Mars better.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little more NASA. And I like the way that Mars looks on Mission to Mars better. On Red Planet, it was like they just like put a red filter over everything.
Yeah. It's true.
And Mission to Mars actually feels like properly lit. Like
It feels like a different planet.
yeah, where it's like the planet is red, but you can still tell that their spacesuits are white because the air on Mars isn't red.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not. I've never been there. So
There you go. It's called the Red Planet, bud.
it is. You know what? You're right. Maybe we get there and everything is just in a haze of red. But
Yep.
somehow I doubt it. So anyways, yeah, I think we've kind of covered everything then. Is there anything else we need to make fun of in these movies?
I mean, no, we already went over the landing balls in Red Planet. That was a good one.
The landing balls are good. If you can just watch the landing ball scene on YouTube, maybe check that out. But this is a hard movie to get a hold of. Like I don't think it's been released on Blu-ray. it's kind of people are like, we can just let that one die.
Oh,
Mission
one
to
thing
Mars
about
is better.
one thing about Mission to Mars that I really liked. It's such a classic thing when we're watching a movie and someone likes just like, oh, why don't we just do this course of action? And then you, as a member of the audience, are like, no, that's stupid because of this thing that's wrong. And you're just thinking like, oh, what dumb characters. There were like 3 or 4 times in this movie where someone's like, well, let's just do this. And I out loud was like, no, just do this thing. And then Jim, the character, said exactly what I just said.
Sorry, in Red Planet or Mission to Mars?
No, in Mission to Mars.
Oh, yeah.
There were so many times I was like, no, that's stupid because of this. And then Jim's like, no, we can't because of this thing that Matthew just said. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
he's a smart character.
Yeah,
I love it.
the characters in Mission to Mars are quite good and resourceful, and they get themselves out of their own problems.
Yep.
And they don't get themselves into stupid problems by doing dumb things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Red Planet has been released on Blu-ray. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, well, I'll try to forgive you.
Yeah. So yeah. Overall, I think Red Planet. Do we want to give them ratings?
Yeah, of course. We always give ratings to the movies we watch.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's one thing we haven't done in a while, actually. We used to do all the time.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, we used to do the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah, we just haven't been doing that for like several episodes.
Yeah. Oh, also, if you want a Blu-ray of Mission to Mars, it is out of print and it is expansive.
Oh.
It's a $60 Blu-ray. I'm
No
looking
thanks.
at right now. Yeah. Anyways, yes, let's do the Rotten Tomatoes scores. We'll start with Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars, Rotten Tomatoes. Is it 64?
Oh, no, dude, no.
Oh.
No.
42.
No, unfortunately. 42? Closer.
37.
Not even.
Oh.
24%.
24? That's so low.
Unnecessary, I think.
Yeah.
No? Like,
That's it wasn't that it was, come on.
I enjoyed myself watching it. I think maybe the thing that might like tip a lot of critics over the edge is like the alien bit at the end. And it's like, oh, there was an alien spaceship and we just get into, if they had just like gone to Mars and had to do some like Mars stuff without involving aliens, maybe it would have been better, but
But it wasn't about the aliens. It was about the resolution of Jim's character.
exactly.
He was supposed to go to Mars first, and then his wife died, and then he couldn't, and he was super depressed, and his life sucked and was really sad. And then he did get to go to Mars, and he did get to learn about alien life, and he was like, you know what? There's nothing back for me on Earth. I'm going to make my life worth it by going where no man has gone before.
Yeah, it's a new adventure for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it.
All right. What about Red Planet? What do you think?
19.
Too generous, my friend.
Too generous. Is it 11?
Not quite that bad. 14.
Okay.
14%.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice and low. It's not
Like
the
I said-
lowest, but it's nice and low.
Like I said, this director Anthony Hoffman, he has directed nothing since then. In terms of feature films, I think he's been like a commercial director and stuff. But he does have one in production.
I'll skip it.
Fox Hunt? Yeah, it's like an action movie.
Whatever.
But still, that was, 20 years ago that this movie came out. He hasn't directed a movie in 20 years, so.
Yep. Well, I think we're both comfortable giving Red Planet the rating of that is one big pile of shit.
One big pile of shit.
That is one big pile of shit.
Absolutely. And then Mission to Mars. How are you feeling?
Oh, Breakfast Club fist bump all the way.
Yeah, me too, man.
Pretty good movie, I think. It's unfortunate that it killed Brian De Palma's career in America, but
Yeah.
you know what? He's had a good career and he's still working. So who fucking cares?
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah. Man, what an interesting dichotomy of films we viewed.
Indeed. They could have been so similar, and they were not.
Mm-hmm. For our first ever double feature on the podcast. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. 40th episode, double feature.
What a way to celebrate this milestone.
Oh, this momentous occasion.
40 terrible films. Well, 41 technically.
Yeah.
Plus a couple we did on Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
The day time ended. Oof.
Oh, no.
You want access to that monstrosity? Us just like losing our minds trying to explain this movie. I think that's worth your $3 right there for the access to the bonus episode level.
Oh, man.
It was
Such a bad movie.
rough. Yeah. Anyways,
Fun times.
it was fun times. And next month, we're gonna have even funner times.
Even funner times.
We are going to watch Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yes.
This is my commitment to this podcast. I bought the DVD. Okay? This was brand new on eBay.
Wow.
It's this classic snapper case. Look at this
yeah.
double gate fold.
Oh, it looks good, listener. It looks good.
Look at this with the... Woo! Yep.
Oh, Nelly. I'm so excited for this movie.
From the year 2000. Dungeons and Dragons, starring Jeremy Irons and other people.
Jeremy Irons is in that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, Jeremy Irons is in this movie and he wins the award for the most overacting ever done by anyone on film ever.
Yes. Love it.
It is like you can tell he knows exactly what movie he's in and he does not give a shit.
I'm so
It's
on board.
amazing. So yeah, we're gonna watch Dungeons and Dragons next month. I will rip that DVD and send it to you. I'm gonna have some comments on the DVD itself. By the way, I'm gonna do like a bit of a DVD review because the menus on this DVD painful to navigate.
Yeah. Oh baby.
Well, I'll get into it more on next month's podcast, but it has some documentaries, some behind the scenes documentaries, and I was like, yes, please explain yourselves. As well as sort of just a history of Dungeons and Dragons, the game.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. That bit was actually pretty interesting, but to get there, let me tell you, difficult. So yeah, we're gonna continue with Dungeons and Dragons next month. I think that's gonna be pretty fun.
I'm on board.
Time for me to wrap up the show then.
Good luck.
Here we
I'll
go.
be right here if you need me. I'm just going to sit back a bit, let you do your thing.
Matt, I'm going to do a good job this month just to prove to you that I can.
I'll be here watching you do it.
All right. That's the show for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a rating and a review on iTunes. It helps a lot. And of course, if you have a friend that you think would enjoy the show, please pass it along to them or download it on their phone while, they go to the bathroom or something. Why they're not taking their phone to the bathroom with them. What kind of people are you friends with? Be careful. They might be insane. You can find us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, pretty much anywhere where podcasts exist. We're there.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. Thank you. We have an email address. It's retrocrappod at gmail.com. Get in touch if you want us to read out, a comment or something from you on the podcast. We just might. You suggest us a movie, correct us if we've been wrong about something. We've had that happen before, where someone's been like, "Hey, idiots! Actually, there was this other character called the Human Torch." Blah blah blah. Or ask us a question. If we want to. Our opinions on, like, hey, what did you think of, I don't know, anything? What did you think of anything? And then we'll tell you. You send us an email if you want, like, movie recommendations. You want to suggest a movie for us to watch on the podcast. That's also good. You can hit us up at RetroCrapPod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm on Twitter the most. So if you want to get in touch with us, that's probably the best place to do it. Other than that, as we mentioned, we do have a Patreon. There's some bonus content up there, some movie commentary tracks for The Phantom Menace and Dune. And we got some bonus episodes as well there about some pretty bad movies. And we're going to be doing another one shortly where we kind of recap the last 40 episodes of the podcast. Other than that, I think that's it.
You did it.
Did I do it?
I think you did it.
I think I did too.
You're not quite done. You just still have one more thing to say. It's the last thing you say.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know. I was trying to come up with a funny joke to say, but I couldn't.
Like famous last words.
Yeah, like I was gonna, you're like, as we always say on this podcast, and I was like, don't eat the yellow snow or something. But how about I just say the thing that I normally say?
Yeah, it's up to you.
I'll do that. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep watching crap.